Welcome back live to Myrtle Beach Speedway in South Carolina. Rick Benjamin, Patty Boyes, Bill Venturini, and Mike Hogwood with you tonight. Glad to have you here for the NASCAR Busch Series. Here's your AutoZone race analysis brought to you by the more than 1,600 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone for the best parts in auto parts. Our posted awards nearly $270,000. Larry Pearson in the field tonight. His last Busch Series win came here in 1995, and he set a race record in doing so. David Green running Winston Cup full time this year, not here. We'll go 250 laps tonight for these 35 cars. Myrtle Beach Speedway, one of the older racetracks on the Busch Series Tour. This is the 10th year that they have hosted a NASCAR Busch Grand National event. Let's take a look at our starting grid for you tonight. 35 cars will line up to take the green in just a moment. And your pole sitter, Elliott Sadler, with that new track record. Jeff Purvis from Tennessee alongside. Second row tonight, Nathan Buckey will line up third. Shane Hall has been on a tear in qualifying lately. He'll start fourth in the Lux Chevrolet. Your third row tonight, series point leader Randy LaJoie and his teammate Tim Fedewa. Row number 4, Mark Green from Kentucky. And the 7 car, Danny Edwards. That's the Ed Whitaker machine. Row 5, Matt Kenseth from Wisconsin. And the 00, BUCKSHOT Jones from Georgia. 6th row tonight, Joe Bessey from up in Maine and Jason Keller in the Slim Jim Chevrolet. 7th row, Glenn Allen Jr. in the 99. Robert Presley back in the series in the Sunoco 47. Your 8th row tonight, Todd Bodine announcing his plans to move up to Winston Cup full time next year. And Johnny Chapman in the Alarm South car, the 89. 9th row tonight, Mike McLaughlin with a couple of wins in recent weeks, and Dennis Setzer in the Lance Snacks car. 10th row, Randy Porter in the UniFirst machine, and Mike Dillon in the 72 Detroit Gasket car. The 11th row, Dale Shaw in his new ride, the James Finch Chevrolet, and Hermie Sadler in car number 1 from Virginia. 12th row, Jeff KROGH from Idaho in the 56. Jason Jarrett driving his dad Dale's 32 machine tonight. Jeff Fuller in the Hunter Specialties 45 now, and Elton Sawyer in the Barbasol Ford. 14th row, Steve Park has a long way to go in the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated number 3. And Phil Parsons, he'll have one of our in-car cameras, the Channel Lock Chevrolet. 15th row has Tracy Leslie in the 63, Kevin LePage in the Hype Chevrolet, the 88. Row 16 tonight, Jim Sauter in relief of Dick Trickle. We'll tell you more about that later. And Stevie Reeves from Speedway, Indiana. 17th row has Mark KROGH. Brad Teague back in the series, driving the UAW Lear Ford tonight, the 77. And all alone back at row 18 with the Champions Provisional, the Curtis Key Ford for Larry Pearson. And we'll be on board with 4 different in-car camera shots for you tonight. As we mentioned, Phil Parsons will take us for a ride in the Channel Lock Chevrolet from back in the 14th row tonight. And we'll be able to look out the side window as well. And we'll take you all around Phil Parsons' machine, actually, as the field gets its warm-up laps in. Randy Porter taking us along for a ride tonight as well. Pretty good qualifying run for the Sammy Kershaw UniForce machine. We'll take a look out the back end of the UniFirst car. And Jim Sauter in the Duralube Chevrolet tonight for Dick Trickle. And he'll have a view for us out the side window and out the back as well. 64 tonight with a provisional. And Randy LaJoie will give us quite a view from the 5th starting spot as the field moves down the back straightaway into turn 3. 250 laps to go in the NASCAR Busch Series. We're glad to have you with us tonight on TNN Motorsports. Elliott Sadler will bring him to the green. The safety car is in, and we're ready to go racing on a Saturday night. We'll also be able to eavesdrop with Randy LaJoie and with Todd Bodine. And with the 48 of Randy Porter as the field steams down into turn 3 on the first time. Nathan Buckey has taken over 2nd spot. Everyone chasing Elliott Sadler with 1 lap on the board. Buckey has moved to 2nd as we jump inside with the Channel Lock Chevrolet of Phil Parsons deep in the field, starting to move up on the outside with Steve Park. There's Sadler with a couple of car lengths on Buckey. Back in 3rd is Jeff Purvis. Tim Fedewa up to 4th here in the early going. Good start for Fedewa in the 33 car. A little gap back to Shane Hall in 5th in the yellow 85, the Lux machine. Fedewa now to the inside looking for 3rd spot. Good jump off turn 2.
Yeah, that's true. You know, there's so much going on in this this particular start because we got some really fast cars in the back of the field too. So it's pretty exciting going. Double wide.
Sadler out in front. Buckey is 2nd. The 33 of Fedewa is 3rd. And Jeff Purvis in the 28 car is 4th. There's the gap between the top couple of spots. About 4 car lengths between Sadler and the 29. and Butke in the 78. Steve Park starting to rumble. Up from the back as we look at that battle for second spot. Fedewa to the inside. He is on the move, and Tim Fedewa picks off second spot from Nathan Butke here in the early going. Fedewa awfully strong, and look at Park on the move, getting by Jason Jarrett there.
Those guys that'll be able to stay on the bottom of the racetrack are going to have a big advantage here tonight.
Park being shown 27th, but he's gained a couple of spots. Coming up on the Jeff Fuller machine, he's passed 2 cars up to 25th here in the first 5 laps.
Yeah, you can see on the outside passenger door of the Steve Park car, there's a big tire donut already. He's been rubbing some fenders already.
As we told you at the top of the broadcast, Park ruined a car here yesterday in practice. And the Dale and Teresa Earnhardt AC Delco team really went to work. They scavenged a lot of parts off the car. Trouble directly in front, the 4. The Dale Shaw machine looks like he popped a motor coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, when you see smoke coming out of an exhaust pipe like that in the center of the corner, usually they've dropped a valve and then it broke a piston right in there.
Dale Shaw, who debuted in this car at South Boston a couple of weeks ago and finished a very tight second to Randy LaJoie. Looks like his night is going to be over very early. He is off the pace and off power down the main straightaway. Your leaders moving down the main straightaway. Fedewa, the 33, he has been on a roll early, and he is reeling in leader Elliott Sadler. We stay green in the early laps here at Myrtle Beach Speedway.
He just had a little bobble right there.
No change up front as the 4 car drops onto pit road. Sadler and Fedewa, the gap just a car length and a half now. They're closing up on Brad Teague. We're going to take a timeout. Come right back to Myrtle Beach. Back live on TNN Motorsports, the Advanced Auto Parts 250 for the NASCAR Busch Series tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Great battle for the lead. Tim Fedewa, who started back in 6th spot tonight, is up to 2nd here in the early going behind pole sitter Elliott Sadler. But the series point leader, Randy LaJoie, who started in the 5th spot tonight, he's been backing up. Patty Moise, what do you think?
Well, you know, it's kind of who made the good calculated guess. All the practice that these guys did was in the heat of the day. They didn't do any night practice whatsoever. Fedewa really wasn't that awesome in practice, but, you know, looking at him tonight, he's really good. The 74 actually has looked like they've struggled a little bit all day, and I think you have something to add there.
Yeah, I had talked to Steve Bird, and what they had done in practice was they didn't actually work on the car for qualifying. They said they were just working on it for the race setup, but it doesn't seem like it's working right now. You can almost see that Randy's actually pushing in the center of the corner. But then his teammate, you know, you've got Tim Fedewa running 2nd, and he's running all over Elliott Sadler's bumper. So
looks as though the LaJoie side of that base motorsports team may have missed on the setup for the night conditions here with the sun gone now. Lead car still the 29 of Elliott Sadler. Right behind him, Tim Fedewa in the 33. And they are nose to tail off 4. LaJoie in 12th and backing up. But one thing that the base team and Steve Bird are very good at, that's adjusting the car in the course of the race. Only 250 laps tonight. We run 17 already, so they'll need to work quickly in their couple of pit stops tonight.
Boy, that's a tough team. They're mighty good. Championship caliber all the way.
yeah, I'm sure Steve's not upset right now. He knows he can work on this car.
Top 2 cars, nose to tail, down into 1. Fedewa just riding for the moment. It looked as though he had more car than Sadler a few laps ago. Is he content to sit there for now?
He doesn't look too content to me. He's really putting a lot of pressure on the 29.
Now, we've documented at the top of the broadcast tonight what a very tight point chase we have in the NASCAR Busch Series. Randy LaJoie by 32 points over this car. Todd Bodine in the yellow machine there, the Stanley Tools Pontiac, the 36. He is on the move up to 9th. We've got a spin down the main straightaway. That's the Brad Teague machine. The Lear UAW Ford, the 77. Teague, the veteran driver up from the Tri-Cities in Tennessee. Gets the car pointed out on the straightaway, stalled it appeared, now gets it dropped into gear, backs it up again, and makes that 3-point turn to get it going. So some scary moments for a moment there for Brad Teague, who spun coming down the main straightaway. We stay green.
Yep, stay green, no yellow.
And I can tell you, there's a lot of cars at the back of this field that would like to have seen a caution.
A lot of guys might need an adjustment here. We're in car with Randy LaJoie off of turn 4, and let's see what happened.
You can't really see it from here, but it looked like he got a little help coming off the corner. I'm not sure who was behind, but it definitely, you don't kind of spin down the straightaway unless you get some help.
Coming up to complete lap 24, still Elliott Sadler in the 29. 1 win on the season for Sadler. The 33 and Tim Fedewa still looking for their first win of the 1997 campaign. Fedewa with 1 career victory at Nazareth a couple of seasons ago. Lead cars off of turn 4. Here you see our scoring banner at the top of your screen. Let's check back in with Todd Bodine from Chemung, New York, trying to take 8th away from Joe Bessey and the Power Team Chevrolet to 6 as they come off of 2.
A number of these cars, you know, qualifying was kind of divided with the rain situation, so there was a number of cars that were really fast in practice that didn't get as good a qualifying lap. It was like the track just really slowed down right after that rain. So there just appears to be some struggling at the back of the field still.
A lot of shuffling going on. Point leader still backing up. Mike Hogwood, what's the situation?
Randy LaJoie has told his crew that his car is tight, but there is not really a lot of concern here in LaJoie's pits. They feel pretty confident that this is a problem that will work itself out before this race is over, and that they drop too far back, they'll be able to recover. You're watching Todd Bodine right now. Bodine was the fastest car in that short practice session this afternoon, and he is making a move to the front. He says his crew is really hooked up, and that car is ready to go.
Very hot here this weekend during the daylight hours. Now that the sun's down, the track has cooled quite a bit, and that has changed things dramatically. There's the 47 of Robert Presley. He is 10th. Lead cars coming up on some lap traffic now. Larry Pearson in the yellow 11 car. He's the next car ahead of Elliott Sadler, your race leader. Tim Fido in the 33 right behind in 2nd spot. Pearson will move high and let Sadler go low, it looks like, down the back straightaway here as we work to put 30 laps on the board this time by Sadler. Gets underneath Pearson, who scored his last Busch Series win here 2 years ago. Just moving into the Curtis Key 4 this weekend. Todd Bodine taking the position away. Grabs 8th from Joe Bessey. Now Presley leans on Bessey and moves into 9th spot. And Mike McLaughlin, Bodine's teammate, back there to go by. So they freight train Bessey on the outside and shuffle him back to 10th.
Well, yesterday all day in practice, Bodine was one of the fastest cars. I think just the qualifying with the rain is what actually put him towards the middle of the pack.
The FINA team, meanwhile, looking at the point leader as he backs up. We'll be right back. An invitation for you to visit Opryland, the official destination of NASCAR. More information on Opryland is yours by calling 615-889-6611 Monday through Friday. The folks there would love to talk to you about Opryland, USA. We're racing tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway in South Carolina. The NASCAR Busch Grand National star Steve Park is charging, trying to get closer to the 2 leaders who you see there. Elliott Sadler, who's been on the point the entire way so far. The 33 of Tim Fido, who has moved to 2nd. Steve Park, we've documented his progress. He's up to 21st. Is Park after starting back in the 27th spot tonight. We told you how he wrecked at practice yesterday. They've thrashed on the backup car for an entire day to try to get him in the ballpark. Steve Park now racing with Randy Porter for 20th spot. We jump on board with the Universe machine of Randy Porter, looking back at Steve Park. They've worked and they've changed everything, Bill Venturini. It doesn't look like Park has quite the speed he wanted to have tonight.
No, but I'd say probably 50% of the parts on that car came off the car he wrecked in practice yesterday. They took this car out in practice, qualified it. They weren't really happy with it. They worked on it all night last night, this morning. They took every part that they felt would help the car handle better off of the other car, put it on this car. Seems to be working. But I'll tell you one thing, Steve's got to be driving his rear end off to drive the car like he is, because he's in a car that wasn't really set up for Myrtle Beach.
That's an intermediate track car, you were telling us earlier. And they've changed it a lot, and they're working on it to try to get it in contention. Park, the winner earlier at Nashville this season, his first career NASCAR Busch Series victory. The AC Delco Chevrolet still battling for 20th spot. Mike Hogwood, where do they stand down there at Steve Park's pit?
Well, they only had 15 minutes of practice today, and one team it hurt as much as anybody was Steve Park, because they changed, as you said, everything on the car this morning, and the car was really loose when they went out for the practice. So the car is not as good as they had hoped it would be after changing everything, but they hope to work on it some during the race, and like everybody else, they hope to be around at the end.
Park trying to wrest 20th away now from Randy Porter in the 48 as we come up to put 40 laps on the scoreboard here tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Rick Benjamin, Patty Moise, Bill Venturini, and Mike Hogwood with you on a Saturday night. We've got a full jam-packed weekend of live NASCAR racing action for you here on TNN. Don't forget our coverage of the Jiffy Lube 300 tomorrow from New Hampshire International Speedway, 1 o'clock Eastern. We'll preview it for you at noontime Eastern on race day, and then our special Jiffy Lube 300 preview at 12:30 Eastern time tomorrow, all from New Hampshire International Speedway. The 7 car, Danny Edwards Jr. running 19th. He had a good qualifying run. This is only his first time in that Ed Whitaker machine. Started up in the top group of cars, but he has backpedaled as we check in on the leaders. Looks like Sadler there about to lap perhaps the 64 car, which Jim Sauter is wheeling tonight.
Those guys at the back right there are going to start to get just a little bit desperate. They don't want to go a lap down now because a lot of them know if they can just get a caution and get in, they can do some things to help those cars. And those are some good cars he's about to put a lap down if they're not real careful. He's going to need to take some patience here.
Take a look back from the Duraloop Chevrolet. Jim Sauter piloting that machine tonight in relief of Dick Trickle. Oh!
He had a little help.
That's the thing. We used to call that the chrome horn. I guess you'd say that's the steel horn now. Yeah, you don't see chrome bumpers anymore.
The only problem is that with Elliott running into him, I can see that the front of the whole nose is closed up. It's closed up the air going in, so now he's only down at on the bottom. It's only drawing air off the bottom now. It may cause him a problem later on tonight.
And we haven't really told you why Jim Sauter is driving the Duraloop machine tonight. Mike Cogwood, it's an interesting story. What's the situation with Dick Trickle?
Well, if you remember in the race at Daytona, the Winston Cup race, that big wreck on the last lap, Dick Trickle was in that. He injured his knee. He's had some fluid on the knee all week. It has really been sore. They drained the knee. He was really too hurt to come race tonight, and that's saying something when you're talking about Dick Trickle. They're hoping he can make it all the way tomorrow in the Winston Cup race, but they didn't want to take a chance and have him get re-injured here in this Busch race tonight. Dick Trickle with the bad knee, Jim Sauter in the 64.
Sauter, his Wisconsin buddy, the father of Jay Sauter, who drives the Richard Childress 3 on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and Jim making his first Busch Series start of the season tonight in that 64, and he's refusing to let Elliott Sadler get by.
Well, yeah, like Patty said.
Oh, and he gets turned.
He's getting a little help.
And he goes way high and around right in front of the lead cars up in turn 2. Sadler jumps on the brakes. I don't think he did much damage to the car as we go inside the 64. Sauter gets it refired, drops it in gear. Caution flag waving for the first time tonight here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Sauter puts the visor up. Looks like he may have flat spotted a tire at the very least. And Elliott Sadler back on the button will bring the field around to the caution flag. With that braking and checking up, I think he may have lost the lead.
Well, that's why I said patience was going to be key for him. And look, it really hurt the 33 car here. You know, leading a race like that, they're awful good and they're awful strong. And, you know, I know he was getting a little bit impatient right there. Really wants to get by that car, but that guy's, you know, racing hard not to go a lap down.
Jim Sauter trying to hang on to the lead lap, and it ultimately didn't work out. Now, Tim Fedewa had moved up to second spot. He was bird dog in the 29 of Sadler there, but in that nose to tail action up in 2, which we'll show you once again as they race into 1. How did you see this, Bill Venturini?
Yeah, well, you can see Elliott got a little impatient, got into into Jim, got him a little sideways, and then when he came across the nose of Elliott, Tim had nowhere to go because Elliott locked up. Tim ran right in and back into Elliott Sadler. Now both the cars that were running 1 and 2 both have crushed front noses.
Here it is coming down into 1. We saw from the in-car shot how Sadler put the bumper to Sauter earlier. Here's another love tap, and that starts Sauter around coming off 2.
Yeah, I thought he had it saved pretty much, but then when he overcorrected, it came back around, did the wiggle, and then came right across in the front.
Now, Nathan Butke took advantage, as did Jeff Purvis. They snuck around the outside as the cars were racing back around to the stripe to pick up the first couple of spots here. So as we take you inside the 64 once again, that's got Jim Sauter at the controls tonight. There has been a lead change. Elliott Sadler gives up the point. Nathan Butke will have the restart lead when we come back to Myrtle Beach Speedway. We're back under green at Myrtle Beach Speedway in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. The NASCAR Busch Series tonight on TNN Motorsports. And Nathan Butke in the 78 car is your leader. Right behind him is Jeff Purvis in the 28. That's the white machine there. They took advantage of that last skirmish a moment ago to grab the top 2 spots away from Elliott Sadler and Tim Fedewa. Now, Fedewa is okay. He is third, a little further back. But Elliott Sadler came out of pit road, and he's got to go a long way. He's on the lead lap, but pretty far back. Mike Hogwood, what are they facing down there?
Well, they had to come in and change 4 tires. Crew Chief Sandy Jones said, hey, Elliott, just honk the horn and get around that 64. And he was just a little too impatient doing it. And this was the problem. As you can see, it's circled in yellow. The tire is flat spotted, and Elliott had to come in for 4 tires and lost some valuable track position.
Sadler being shown in 28th spot, running by himself now. Doesn't seem as though the car's damaged, and that car has been a rocket all weekend long, so I think we'll see him back toward the front fairly soon. As we check in on the leaders, Jeff Purvis now starting to reel in Butke as they race off turn 4. Still a couple of car lengths to lead for Nathan.
Yeah, they've really opened up a good lead, those 2 cars, and it's kind of surprising. Those are 2 non-regulars on the series, and so you don't see that up at the front that often, but they're really running good right now.
Purvis qualified second quick, so he's been strong since they unloaded the Curb Records Opryland Chevrolet this weekend, and he's running very nicely right now.
And Nathan Butke was the 3rd fastest car.
Yeah.
At the 3rd and 2nd fastest cars that qualified running up front. I mean, I know it doesn't seem right because they're not regulars, but they were quick all weekend, so it's showing why they're leading.
We talked about the point battle at the top of the broadcast. Randy LaJoie with a 32-point lead over Todd Bodine, and then a couple of 100 points back to 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the season standings. LaJoie has gained a little ground. Todd Bodine has as well, but they're a little further back in the pack as we watch this battle for the lead. We put 58 on the board already here tonight, so these cars setting a very, very quick pace. And further back in the pack, this is the battle for 5th, the 17 car. That's Matt Kenseth in the Kraft Chevrolet. And the 37 car, one of the Green brothers, that's Mark Green from Owensboro, Kentucky, and the Timberwolf Chevrolet, and they've been going at it nicely too here in the early stages.
Yeah, I promised Mark I wouldn't call him Dave.
I'm sure he's glad to hear that.
Well, that's a little personal joke. He was teasing me earlier.
Both David and Jeff Green up in New Hampshire tonight, no doubt watching their brothers' progress here at Myrtle Beach this evening as that battle continues for 5th and 6th. Kenseth has done a nice job too. Now, he didn't start the season in that car. Tim Bender drove the 17 back in the early stages of the year. He jumped out on one of the best rides, if not the best ride in ASA stock car competition to take over the 17, and he's turned in some good runs. Todd Bodine, meantime, 2nd in points. He is on the move. Todd Bodine right now up to 7th. And look at Robert Presley right back there too in the Geschichter Chevrolet, the Sunoco 47. He's just moved into that car a few weeks back. They've struggled, but it looks like Robert may be at home here tonight at Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, he's not struggling tonight. You can see he's pretty comfortable back running the Busch program.
And you know, really, he hasn't been on this kind of racetrack other than South Boston a couple of weeks ago in a long, long time. They just don't run tracks this small in the Winston Cup Series, so it does take a little bit to get your rhythm back.
Kenseth in the 17 is 5th. And this is the battle for 5th spot. 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th right now. Robert Presley holding down 8th in the Sunoco Chevrolet. So we've got a good one underway a little further back in the pack. And the car that's directly in front of them, you saw Shane Hall motor through your picture just a moment ago in the 85, the Lux Foods car. Robert Presley with some tire donuts on the outside of the 47 as well.
Yeah, speaking about Matt Kenseth, I just found something a little interesting this weekend talking to him. Was that I've been back when I was running the ARCA program and I had left-hander cars. Found out that Matt actually was one of the chassis builders at Left-Hander Chassis. He built a couple of my ARCA cars.
So now we know why he won all those races.
Yeah, nah. Nice kid. I call him a kid, but he's been racing for a while. Like you said, he's had good rides his whole career. He drove for Fred Nielsen out of the Chicagoland area. Had good equipment then, moved up to ASA, and now hooked up with the Risers. Robbie Risers put together a good program with Kraft's single as their sponsor, and I'm glad to see him running up front.
Kenseth in the 17 continues 5th. Mark Green in the 37 6th. Todd Bodine up to 7th now in the Stanley Tools Pontiac. And then Robert Presley back in 8th spot in the Sunoco machine, the Chevrolet, right there. So good battle for 5th spot. Continuing to rage here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Shane Hall directly in front and 4th, all alone right now as they work down into turn number 1. Presley content pretty much to sit there. Has a little room. Todd Bodine's car seems to be pushing up the track a little in the corners.
Yeah, they haven't pitted yet. They may need to make a little adjustment on it. It'll help them when they can stay down, but you know, as this track cools, temperature makes such a big difference in the handling, and when they get cooler, they typically tighten up.
We bounce back up to the front duel here. There's Purvis in the 28, the Curb Records machine. He's 2nd. Nathan Butke, the Mark III Financial car, the 78. He is your leader by a couple of tenths now as they work off turn 4. Coming up on 70 laps complete next time around. So the tire window, I'm told, should be around 90 to 100 laps. We ought to be seeing pit stops here fairly soon. We'll see how that plays out as these cars continue to run under green tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Great to have you with us for the NASCAR Busch Series. Nathan Butke showing the way. Portions of tonight's NASCAR Busch Series event are brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And you can find out a lot more about tonight's action. Check out NASCAR online before, during, and after the NASCAR Busch Series events. www.nascar.com. Your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass lead battle on the backstretch. That's the 80 of Mark KROGH. The leader is Nathan Budke in the 78 machine. Jeff Purvis right behind in the 28. He's been dogging Budke for the last 30 laps. Now KROGH cuts down on the racetrack, and that'll give Budke a chance to expand that lead by a couple of car lengths. So KROGH needs to move up the racetrack, and he does, to give Purvis the room now to rejoin the battle for first. But Nathan Budke turning in a surprisingly strong run here in the 78 car. There's Purvis, who has several Busch Series wins under his belt. Budke still looking for his first career victory. Can Nathan Budke win this race tonight? We'll talk about that in a moment. We look at Todd Bodine on the outside trying to make the move and get by the 37 of Mark Green and take away 6th spot. Todd high up in turn 1. Now rounds the corner down low, makes the pass on Mark Green. So give Todd Bodine 6th spot here tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Maybe that's the car to beat.
That's the first car I've seen tonight make a pass on the outside. Maybe Todd's got something that no one else has.
They've been working on that car as well. Didn't qualify very well. Now Matt Kenseth up to challenge Shane Hall for 4th. Kenseth takes a look down low. Hall's starting to push up the racetrack. Gets squirrely there, and Kenseth will go by. Here's Todd Bodine right there to take advantage as well. So give Kenseth 4th spot in the 17. Hall drops back to 5th. Todd Bodine just waiting patiently there.
Well, Matt used that bumper horn again. Helped him make that pass a little bit.
The cow catcher coming down into turn 1. There's Mike McLaughlin. Looks like he may have kissed the wall coming up onto the main straightaway last time. We saw that white puff of paint there more than smoke. He and Dennis Setzer in the 43 door-to-door. They're battling for 8th tonight. McLaughlin on the outside may get the spot. Mark Green directly in front of him. Now in 7th as Bodine takes over 6th.
Yeah, but you see that blue car behind those 2 cars?
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah, that's Randy LaJoie. So I guess maybe his strategy is working. Obviously, backpedaled for a while. Now he's actually moving back up to the front.
Now as the tires wear, and we're getting close to tire time for a lot of these teams, everybody would be loosening up, I would think.
Yeah, I was talking to them. They can get about 65 laps, and then they really start to back up on them. So it's starting to show right now.
Let's see what happened here in Mike McLaughlin's car.
Oh, yeah. You can see he got crowded just a little. There's a car on the inside, and he brushed the outside wall.
He made
Magic
a decent
shoes.
rub there.
Yeah.
That was a decent rub.
Mike McLaughlin still on track, still doing fine. Robert Presley was in the thick of the battle earlier. He's no longer on the speedway. Mike Hogwood, what happened to the 47?
Well, let's ask him. Robert Presley, you're out a lot earlier than you wanted to be.
Yeah, I tell you, this Sunoco 360 communication car, it was running great, really had Ray and Tad and all the guys had it working good. Got out there and the brakes started fading on it at first. Got that problem cured there to start riding out. Then the gear come out of it, so rear end, just nothing we could do. Just great race car, but it's an early night.
An early night for Robert Presley.
And it may be a short night, too, for Shane Hall in the Lux Foods Chevrolet. He was up to 5th in the 85 car, 4th actually a few laps ago, but he's bobbled and slowed quite a bit. Several cars getting by, and Hall now dropping back to 11th spot.
I don't know if he's got a brake problem or not, but you can see the inside the right front wheel, the rotor's glowing red, and I don't know if...
And the leaders tangling, Nathan Budke and Jeff Purvis, and Purvis spins across the start-finish line. Budke and Purvis hook bumpers coming off of turn 4. Purvis gets it refired, loses several spots, and we stay green. No caution. So Purvis loses a lot of track position.
He didn't hit anything, though, so he will most likely have to pit. You saw those tires earlier on the 29 car. The rubber on these tires are so thin.
Now Fedewa has closed right back up. Let's show you what happened. The 2 leaders off 4. They had rubbed, and there's Purvis losing it and doing a 360 here on the main straightaway.
Yeah, like I said, these tires are so thin because they need to keep the heat down in them, that if you do something like that, you're going to rub a considerable amount of them off. And if you do and you stay out there, lots of times you'll blow a tire out.
Looked like Budke got loose first coming off the 4th
Budke actually got loose, checked up, and the 28, actually when he checked up from not hitting it, he spun.
And in all the confusion now, Tim Fedewa has gotten going, and he has gotten around Budke. So Tim Fedewa, the 33, the Kleenex Chevrolet, he takes over the top spot for the first time tonight. Give Fedewa the point with that damaged front end.
I guess the front end's not affecting the way the car's handling it.
Now, is aerodynamics no factor here at all?
Not really, no. Not a big factor at all. Well, now, if they lost that rear deck lid and didn't have a spoiler, it would be a big factor.
One car way up high coming out of turn 4. Looks like it might be the Johnny Chapman machine. It is Chapman in the Alarm South Ford. He got way up high in the marbles. Gets it reeled in. He's back underway. Here's Fedewa in the 33 trying to lap by Brad Teague on the back straightaway. Teague taking over the ride for Jeff McClure tonight in the UAW Lear Ford. So Fedewa out in front and expanding the lead. His lead now about half a second over the second place car of Nathan Butke. 92 laps are on the board. Pit stops ought to be coming shortly. We'll be back at Myrtle Beach. It's been a wild night so far tonight at Myrtle Beach. Elliott Sadler was leading in the 29. He and Jim Sauter came together. Sauter went around, and Sadler lost the lead in the skirmish. Just one of many incidents we've enjoyed so far tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Rick Benjamin, Patty Moise, Bill Venturini, and Mike Hogwood on pit road. Your leader is Tim Fedewa in the 33. Trying to put Jeff Fuller in the 45 a lap down, and the 89 of Johnny Chapman goes around. A few laps ago, he had gotten way up high in turn 4 in the marbles, kept it straight and on the track, but he loses it this time. Chapman in the wall up in turn 2. And we are under caution. Chapman with heavy front end damage to the Alarm South Ford. Gets it refired, tries to spin it to get it pointed in the right direction.
This may be the chance these guys take to pit now.
Coming up on the 100 lap mark, a lot of guys wanted tires. Let's show you what happened here down in 1. Todd Bodine right behind the 89.
Well, I don't know that really Todd got into him there. It looks like he maybe went in there just a little bit harder, and you know, it's a low fuel load now, so the back end of the car is much lighter, tends to make it a little bit loose getting in, and went around.
Johnny Chapman spinning and cracking the wall up in turn 2. He's fine, got the car refired. Todd Bodine, meantime, on the move. He has moved to 4th spot tonight. And the Stanley Tools Pontiac and his teammate, McLaughlin, who's won 2 already this year. Winning at New Hampshire, winning on the road course at Watkins Glen, right behind him in 5th. So the 2 Team 34 cars doing very, very nicely here tonight. Todd Bodine announcing a couple of days ago, we'll have the full story tomorrow on race day, that he is moving to Winston Cup with a new team next year. Race leader, meantime, getting ready to lead him onto pit road. Tim Fedewa will come down. Everybody wants rubber. One fuel stop ought to about do it tonight as well for these cars. And will they take fuel under the caution here and not have to take it a second time? Undoubtedly, that's the plan. Let's go to pit road. Mike Hogwood.
Tim Fedewa has some sheet metal damage on the front end, but it hasn't affected the way this car is running. Crew Chief Butch Indy says, fellas, we're not making any adjustments at all. 4 tires and fuel, that's all they're going to do on the 33. Meanwhile, you mentioned Todd Bodine a moment ago. He's moved from 15th to 4th, and he's done it using the outside groove. He's gotten really loose as that fuel load got low. He wants a track bar adjustment. They're going to make adjustment on Bodine's car. He thinks that'll get him to the front. Fedewa is down and away, and he is out first.
Fedewa is out first, and Elliott Sadler gets out quickly as well. Todd Bodine, they drop the jack on the 34, get him up on the racetrack. Field will reform behind the safety car. We'll be back to set the order for you in a moment. Back live at Myrtle Beach Speedway in South Carolina, the Advanced Auto Parts 250 for the NASCAR Busch Series tonight on TNN Motorsports. Now the track has changed quite a bit here tonight. It's a brand new surface, a new configuration too. Time for our AutoZone Tech Fact. Here's Mike Hogwood.
When the drivers came here to test at Myrtle Beach, they found something new in turn 1, speed bumps like this one. They were all through the turn, and what it did was it not only slowed them down, it took away the low groove. It would have made racing into the first turn very, very tight. The drivers complained. They took the speed bumps away. So now it's a fast way through turn 1 again, and the racing is wide.
And that's our AutoZone Tech Fact tonight, brought to you by the more than 1,600 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Look who's back at the head of the class, Elliott Sadler and the Phillips 6629. Mike Hogwood, how did this happen?
They did it because they took no tires. That's right, 0 tires. You're only allowed 2 sets. And remember, they flat spotted that set. They had to come in and put 4 new tires on already. So the crew chief, Sandy Jones, said, hey, we're not going to put on any tires. We're going to go to the front and see if we can stay there.
Track position key. They've gambled and taken advantage of the situation. It's paid off for now.
Well, this car's quick enough that they'll be able to stay at least up front, so I don't think
okay,
he'll have a big problem with it.
105 laps complete, 145 to go tonight at Myrtle Beach. Pace car is in.
Go, 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 go.
Sadler brings him to the stripe. We're back underway.
It shouldn't hurt him too bad, at least for a little while, because it hasn't been that long ago that he got those 4 tires. And as I say that, the 34 car pulls right up.
Mike McLaughlin getting up alongside Sadler off of 2. Magic Shoes to the inside, gunning for the lead. He's got Fedor right behind him, and McLaughlin grabs the point as they come off of 4. Fedor in his second spot. Sadler will try to tuck in 3rd. He won't make it. Todd Bodine will go by.
Once that door is open, once you get pushed up like that, boy, it's easy for them to line up on you.
And look at Randy LaJoie on the move as well with fresh rubber and some adjustments on that pit stop as we take you on board the channel lock machine. Actually, that's the Randy LaJoie machine outside. As we take a look at the Napa field standings, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Jeff Fuller in trouble. Napa standings up at the top of your screen. 143 to go. Quite a lead battle. McLaughlin in the 34, the point holder right now, with Fedor, who led earlier, right behind him. And we'll see if Fedor's got more race car. I think he may have more car.
It looks like it right now. I tell you, though, Mike was really good in practice. Of course, that was a total different time of day, but you know he likes that. The view from up front there is so much nicer.
McLaughlin out in front, hoping for his 3rd win of the season, 2nd in the last couple of weeks, having won at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago. But Fedor says, I'm down low and I'm taking it back.
But you can see coming off before, Tim had to hit the lower line coming off the corner. Actually set him up coming off before to be able to run down the straightaway, get him going into 1.
141 remaining. Fedor back to the lead right now. McLaughlin drops to 2nd. Bodine is 3rd. Then LaJoie, the point leader, is 4th. So the 2 top cars in the point chase running 3rd and 4th. There's the lead battle up in 2. Look at him coming off the 2nd quarter. Look at this battle a little further back. Sadler backpedaling in the field with Mike Dillon there. Kevin LePage in the hunt as well. This is the battle for 10th, 11th, and 12th. Steve Park, we talked about him a lot earlier in the broadcast. Park is up to 10th now in the AC Delco 3.
Hasn't made a lot of noise, but look where he's at. He's up into the top 10.
That youthful exuberance, Patty, that you talked about earlier on the part of Elliott Sadler. Steve Park seems to have developed a lot of patience.
Yes, yeah, in some races you see that, and then in others, you know, I have my doubts, but they're awfully good. They're awfully fast. He's got a lot of talent, and you know, patience is one of those things that's learned over time.
Park up to 9th. Good battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th. Directly in front of him, Jason Keller trying to get around Mark Green in the 37. Keller in the Slim Jim Chevrolet. Jeff Purvis, who battled for the lead earlier, is right there as well. Green is 6th, 7th now to the 57 of Jason Keller, whose dad is on the mend, and we're happy to let you know about that. Jason Keller's father in the hospital for bypass surgery a couple of days ago. Jason wanted us to be sure to say hi to his dad, who is doing much better, and we're glad to hear that and hope to see Mr. Keller back at the racetrack in the very near future as Keller moves around and takes over 6th spot now from Mark Green. So Jason Keller with a good run going, and there's the 3 car with Park on the move too. It looks like Mark Green's starting to back up a little.
Yeah, and they're doing the outside passes there, the hard way around the racetrack.
Move Park up another spot into 8th as Mark Green gets shuffled back to 9th, directly in front of those cars. Purvis is 7th in the white machine, the 28th there. Now Mike Dillon on the outside, moving around Mark Green.
Well, I don't want to say nothing, but I don't know if you've noticed that 38 car is, where's he at, running 11th?
Well, you know, I sort of picked up on the fact that he had made it on the screen there, and I really appreciate you drawing our attention to that.
I was going to say something.
Well, I knew you were a little concerned. I wanted to really talk about your mate there, Helton, but he's running a good show. As
we watch NASCAR timing and scoring, presented by MCI, 134 laps remaining. Jason Jarrett with a nice run tonight. You see him there in 21st spot. We check back in on Elton Sawyer, Kevin LePage, and Mark Green as they race for 10th spot. Elton's been pretty quiet tonight in all seriousness, but he's been very steady and strong. Well, they had a problem in qualifying. They had an ignition box go out, and so that started him at the back, and he's just been slowly moving his way up. This is his kind of racetrack. He grew up on these, you know, these flat, small racetracks, so he really likes it. And of course, he's a past winner here. I was going to say, he's won here before, hasn't he? Yes, he has. Thank you for mentioning it. And tonight, if I'm not mistaken, is his 250th career Busch start. Is that correct? Well, I don't know. You got me there. I hadn't been counting. I believe that is the case. We jump on board with Jim Sauter in the 64 machine, taking a look back at the 57 of Jason Keller. He's got Purvis right with him. They're lapping by the 99 car of Glenn Allen Jr. The 57 of Keller up to 5th. He had a very strong run here 1 year ago, and he's back in the top 5 here tonight. 64, a lap down. They move on to turn 3. up toward turn 4. There's the Slim Jim Chevrolet. Strong move to the outside. He's got Purvis in tow as they move by the Duraloop machine with Jim Sauter at the throttle tonight. If you're just joining us, Dick Trickle is up in New Hampshire. He'll start the Winston Cup race tomorrow that you'll see live here on TNN Motorsports. But he was injured a little bit in that crash last Saturday at Daytona at the end of the Pepsi 400. Dick with some knee injuries. They've been draining fluid off the knee, and they said, frankly, they didn't think he was up to the task of flying in to run the race tonight. So Jim Sauter does a lot of testing for that team, gets the nod in the Duraloop Dennis Shoemaker machine tonight. And Steve Park will go by Sauter on the outside. Car's kind of been off the pace all weekend. They had to take a provisional to get in. Jeff Fuller in the 45. He had problems earlier. He gets shuffled to the outside in the Hunter Specialties car, the Mike Laughlin machine. We watch Mike Dillon go by.
45 car is really off the pace. They're in trouble. He looks like he might be just wanting to try to get to the bottom. Maybe he wants to get in.
Well, he had pitted earlier. I guess he had tagged the wall a little is what it looked like, and made a pit stop. And I guess they're just out there trying to get some points right now. You were talking a little earlier about Jason Keller starting to run up front, and Tim Fita was leading the race, and Randy LaJoie's in third or fourth. One thing that I've noticed is most of the guys running up front all seem to have one thing in common: K-Tech engines. They seem to be putting out some good power right now.
They are very strong in this series. Randy LaJoie rode K-Tech power to a championship in the Busch Series last year. Trying to make it 2 straight, but right now it's his teammate Tim Fita who's got things going his way. We're just past halfway at Myrtle Beach. Great place to visit the Grand Strand here at Myrtle Beach. A lot of folks enjoying boating or a round of golf. And thousands are enjoying NASCAR Busch Series racing tonight under the lights at Myrtle Beach Speedway. We're glad you're with us tonight on TNN Motorsports. Time now for our Stanley Mid-Race Report, brought to you by Stanley. Since 1843, Stanley has been helping people do things right. 4 leaders so far with 5 lead changes. A couple of cautions worth 10 laps. We're averaging a little over 86 miles an hour. 3 cars behind the garage wall right now. 25 remain on the lead lap, and there are your 2 leaders. The 33 of Tim Fita and the 34 Mike McLaughlin running second. Mike has turned in a really strong run tonight, and I think the patience has really come into play for Mike McLaughlin too. He may well be a car that is a factor in this one before it's over. We're going to show you the rest of the top 5. There's Todd Bodine running in 4th spot. Randy LaJoie actually in 4th. Todd is 3rd right now, and we take you a little further back in the field. This is the battle with Steve Park, Jeff Purvis, and the 72 of Mike Dillon for 5th, 6th, and 7th. Now Purvis in the 28 started on the outside pole, ran 2nd earlier, and he has come back up through the pack to run 5th. There's the 57 car, Jason Keller directly in front of him. Or, I'm sorry, that's the 80 of Mark KROGH directly in front of him. Saw the red and yellow there and looked away.
The 28 got up underneath the 57 a little bit earlier, and when he moved him out of the way, it opened the door for the 3 and the 72 of Steve Park and Mike Dillon to just move right on in.
Racing down into turn 1. Good battle a little further back. Mike Dillon is a driver too we ought to give a call to. He has really started to come on of late. He had a great run going in South Boston a couple of weeks ago. Up to 7th here tonight in the Detroit Gaskets Chevrolet.
Yeah, he really has matured. He did a lot of crashing at first, and he settled down, and he finishes races, and he's got, good finishes now to show for it.
But like you had said earlier about settling down and being aggressive and then learning when to calm down, I think that's what happened to Steve Park yesterday. He had a fast car in practice. He got aggressive in practice, knowing he maybe had a shot at the pole. He wrecks the car. A good driver is that you come back, you settle down, and you drive what you've got. You don't overdrive your equipment. Look what it's done. Where's he at? 5th?
And we've got trouble up in turn 3, it looks like. One car's turned around. Joe Bessey's machine with some problems. There's one of the KROGH brothers in the 56 with some problems as well, dropping sparks. It looks like he's lost a left front wheel, or at least he's dragging on the racetrack as he comes down the main straightaway. Joe Bessey involved in the power team car, the 6, and the 56 of Jeff KROGH involved as they come off at 2. And let's see how those two got together. KROGH into the wall, and Bessey gets loose and spins down into the inside. And that evidently cut the tire down on the 56. The left front is flat, and so he drags down into 3 and all the way around.
Yeah, we couldn't see from that angle if the 56 came down on him or if Bessey came up. We just couldn't quite tell.
Jeff KROGH in the Clearwater CFI car. They said the car they were afraid didn't have any brakes. He gets it onto pit road. Crew comes to the attention of the CFI 56. So a tough break for Jeff KROGH and for Joe Bessey. We're under caution once again with 141 laps complete. Portions of tonight's NASCAR Busch Series event are brought to you by the more than 1,600 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Ready for a restart at Myrtle Beach Speedway in South Carolina. The NASCAR Busch Series live tonight on TNN Motorsports.
Green flag.
Tim Fedewa on the inside leads him back to the green. 144 laps complete, 106 to go. He's got Jim Sauter on the outside, a lap down. There's McLaughlin in the 34 in second spot. Todd Bodine third. Randy LaJoie is fourth. Jeff Purvis is fifth as we look at the leaders on the back straightaway. McLaughlin moving under the 64 machine. Bodine right with him there, as is LaJoie. It allows Fedewa time to scoot away. And I think you really have to give Fedewa a lot of credit after that early skirmish with Elliott Sadler that bent the front sheet metal on that car a lot. He's been very stout the entire way.
Yeah, he's been strong all night here and just driving really a smart race.
Call too to his crew chief Butch Enders, who joined that team partway through the season. Butch was the crew chief for David Green and the Caterpillar machine last year in the Busch Series Tour. Had them in contention for the championship all season long. Butch started the year with the Caterpillar crew and they went to Winston Cup, but didn't stay too long and now has hooked up with Base Motorsports, and he's working with Tim Fedewa, doing a great job. Randy LaJoie, the defending series champ and the current point leader, to the outside now of Sauter up in 3 and 4. Randy up to fourth. He backpedaled early and gotten the car right, or more right, I guess you'd say at this point. And Randy trying to get to the front, challenge for the victory here in the final 100 laps, which are just 3 laps from starting, and that's when it really ought to get interesting. There goes Purvis in the 28 now around the 64 car. Jeff is fifth. Steve Park is sixth in the 3 car. Bill Venturini, I know you've had your eye on Park since we got here this weekend. He's turning in a really nice ride.
Oh, he's showing a lot of maturity tonight, taking the car that he hadn't really practiced with, using it to the best of the ability of the car, not overdriving it, and just using his head. This is what shows a sign of a good driver. He's got really good potential. I think Dale made the right choice.
Battle for third now. Randy LaJoie closing in on Todd Bodine. Remember that Bodine is 32 points down in second spot.
The Busch Series is so competitive now that these teams, if they're racing for a championship, racing for wins, and racing for a championship, they've got to be able to have as good a car as their backup car to be able to unload off of that trailer as they have the one that they originally showed up with hoping to race.
As we watch LaJoie down into one, we ought to tell you that Elliott Sadler, who started on the pole and led for quite a while, he's out of sync on his pit stops, and it may work to his advantage. He stopped at the end of that caution period, took on his set of tires, which probably will be his final set of tires. He's in line to gain a lot of track position maybe when everybody else, when the leaders stop.
Well, yeah, when they dropped the green, he was just pulling out of the pits. He was almost a whole lap down. He's closed it up to only about a half a lap now. He's caught the rest of the field, and like you said, Rick, he pit strategy. He won't pit again. I mean, if all the leaders pit, he's got track position. As
we watch the battle for third with LaJoie trying to take it away from Todd Bodine. Mike Hogwood, you watched that pit strategy on pit road. What do you think?
It's a definite. That was their last set of tires, as mandated by NASCAR. They had no choice but to come in then. They did fill up with fuel. They can go the rest of the way. Everybody else on the racetrack that's in the lead is going to stop and put on tires before the race is over with. So you're right. It might be an advantage. It's a gamble, but it's a gamble that they had no choice in. They had to take it.
Watch the battle for 6. Steve Park in the 3 car is running 6. Danny Edwards back up on the racetrack in the Lumar Films Chevrolet. That's the Ed Whitaker machine. There's Park running 6th. He's got Jim Sauter behind him a lap down, and then the next car back is Mike Dillon in the 72. You saw Dillon there momentarily coming off of 4. So Park up to 6, trying to get up on Jeff Purvis and maybe make a move into the top 5. And that would be quite an accomplishment for the AC Delco Chevrolet team. They wrecked their primary car yesterday in practice. They thrashed hard the rest of yesterday and all day today to try to make the backup car more competitive here tonight. Obviously, it's in the hands of a very good young driver, too.
Yeah, they've got a professional team. All the top Busch teams have crews that are capable of doing it. That's what makes them championship-winning teams.
Take a look back on it and on the leader, Tim Fedewa, the Kleenex Chevrolet, the base car. They say this is the other car, but Fedewa is showing every bit as much strength tonight as the series point leader, Randy LaJoie. Fedewa out in front, gunning for what would be his second career Busch Series victory.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I sure wouldn't mind be driving that other car tonight.
Plenty in that other car. There's McLaughlin, second spot in the Royal Oak car, the 34. Two lead cars out of turn 4. Put 158 laps on the board this time by. As we keep you posted up at the top of your screen with NASCAR timing and scoring. Further back in the pack, we've been watching the 10 of Phil Parsons in the top 5 in series points, but Phil's been struggling tonight. Some smoke has been coming out of the Channel Lock Chevrolet at various times. Phil inviting us along for a ride tonight. He's right behind Dennis Setzer, running back at 19th spot. Dennis is 18th.
That 10 car has been so consistent this year. It's been able to stay out of trouble like it had problems in the past. You know, trouble just seemed to find it. Super consistent, and the points show it.
Mark Green has been backpedaling as well since the last pit stop. He's 16th, Setzer 17th, and now gives Setzer 16th spot. So the other Ridling Motorsports entry, the Lance Snacks 43, Setzer, who ran a lot of laps here in late model stock car competition. If you were with us at 7 o'clock tonight at the top of our coverage when we brought you the NASCAR late model stock cars and the Renegades Racing Shootout, you heard us talk a little about Dennis Setzer and his days here in that series at Myrtle Beach. He's got a lot of laps on this racetrack, and it's starting to come into play, I think, a little bit for the Lance Chevrolet as Setzer moves up to 16th spot. Check back in up in front as we watch Setzer and Parsons move through 1 and 2. Meantime, look at McLaughlin. He's closed right in now on the 33 of Fidoa.
Yeah, you know, he's a great short track driver. Well, I guess one of his wins, where did it come? Was it IRP?
He's won this year at New Hampshire and at Watkins Glen, and won at Dover earlier in his career for his only other Busch Series victory. Meantime, we watch McLaughlin. Of course, he's a product of the Northeast short tracks where he was a star for a long time in the NASCAR Featherlight Modified Tour. We're at Myrtle Beach for a lot more racing. Stick with us. Reminder, you can experience country.com, your personal source for all things country, race cars to country stars, and even a race day column by yours truly every week. Connect to country.com, your source for all things country. We're live at Myrtle Beach Speedway in South Carolina, the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series tonight. Rick Benjamin, Patty Moise, Bill Venturini, and Mike Hogwood on pit road tonight. The leaders out of turn 4, the 33 of Tim Fidoa holding the point as we check in with NASCAR timing and scoring, brought to you by MCI tonight. Take a look back to the 34 machine of Mike McLaughlin, who is second. He's got his Team 34 teammate right in his mirror. Mike Hogwood, what does the 34 bunch say about McLaughlin's chances?
Well, the car has run absolutely perfect all night long. They have not turned anything on the car. They've just put tires and fuel in. Mike McLaughlin did not want to run this car, particularly this weekend. It's not his favorite car in the stable. It's the car that finished 13th last week at Milwaukee. It did sit on the pole at Nashville, but it is not a car that has been to victory lane. He told the crew, you know, I've changed my mind about this car. I've decided I like it.
Yeah, if you notice here, with the first 4 cars, in Winston Cup, they've got these multi-car teams, and everyone wondered how it would work in the Busch Series. Look at, you've got the two-car teams running Busch Series. They're running first and fourth, and second and third.
It gives you the same kind of advantage, more testing capability and more research.
Yeah, you try something on one team car. If it doesn't work, you try something different on the other guy's car. You see how they work together.
And they both do it the same way. If you talk to the crew chiefs, team managers, they're both of those 2-car teams are all under one roof. They share everything.
That's the only way it'll work.
Randy LaJoie coming up in 4th spot now, closing back up on Todd Bodine. He was dropping back there for a while, but now he's gathered it right back up again.
Well, that's me and Patty were kind of talking about that on break. We were wondering if Randy was cooling his tires off. And I told Patty, I says, nah, I never, in all the years I've raced, I never really cooled my tires off. Just you got a little too sideways.
Makes a good story, though.
Yeah.
See, then he makes that big run again.
Well, you talk about a driver who's learned patience in the last several seasons. One of those drivers is Randy LaJoie, without a doubt. I mean, I watched him from the time he started his career in modifieds in the Northeast. We've got a little bit of problem on the main straightaway. The 00 of Buckshot Jones is in the wall. He tangled with Jason Keller coming out of turn 4. Both cars underway, but heavy damage to the 57. Buckshot back underway. He's got a little bit of sheet metal damage on the back end of that car. Jason Keller's machine with a torn off right front fender, or nearly so. So we're under caution here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. 177 laps complete. We've got 73 remaining. We'll show it to you how it happened as Buckshot moves around under caution. Here they are on the main straightaway. Keller looked like maybe Buckshot checked up there, and Jason just got right underneath him.
Yeah, it almost looked like Buckshot was running down on a low groove like he had a problem, and Jason just came up on him and didn't realize it and ran into him.
Well, Buckshot Jones back underway. Whatever the problem was, he got the car refired in gear and up on the speedway. We are under caution, though, as Buckshot rides alongside the White Rain Ford of Jason Jarrett tonight. Tim Feto is still the leader. Back with more in a moment. The leaders have been on pit road. Elliott Sadler has had his problems, but he may be able to take advantage of all this because remember, he pitted out of sequence. Now Sadler showed a lot of peerless pride this weekend. He started on the pole here after a very, very strong qualifying run. In fact, you might say that Elliott Sadler knows how to get around this racetrack with a lot of peerless pride. He's really got a nice technique for finding one lap's worth of speed at Myrtle Beach.
I think the key here is easy in, hard off. This track becomes so slick because of the sand. If you can get the car hooked up off the corner and don't overcharge the corners, you feel like you run a whole lot faster lap. You feel like you're running slow, but the slower you feel like you run here, the faster you're going. It's kind of like a Martinsville. So kind of got used to that, and we seem to be pretty good so far.
It was very good in qualifying. Elliott Sadler breaking the track record and taking the pole tonight. Peerless Pride brought to you by Peerless Faucets, the do-it-for-yourself faucets. Now Elliott didn't show as much patience once we got racing here tonight. He got into Jim Sauter early tonight, lost the lead at that point, but his pit stop strategy may end up benefiting him. We're going to show you why we're under caution here on lap 181 as the cars work down off the main straightaway. There's Buckshot Jones into the wall. He crossed in front of Jason Keller.
Yeah, we couldn't tell from the first shot, but you can see actually Jason was running down in the lower groove, and Buckshot, when he hit the wall, shot back across and ran into Jason.
Yeah, and it's really, Jason's still sitting on pit road. It really destroyed his night.
A lot of front end damage to the 57. The leaders have taken advantage. They've been on pit road. Mike Hogwood, what happened down there?
Well, Tim Feto and Mike McLaughlin both came in. They pit near each other, and they both had exactly the same pit strategy. 4 tires, full tank of fuel, and absolutely no changes. Remember, Elliott and Hermie Sadler stayed out. They've already made their pit stops. Mike Dillon may have made an interesting move. He only took right side tires. He did make a track bar adjustment. They want track position on the 72.
A lot of drivers wanting track position. Matt Kenseth wanted track position. He did not pit, so he'll be the restart leader in the 17 in the Kraft cheese machine.
Well, he had pitted on the last yellow, which nobody noticed. He dropped back to the tail end of the lead lap. That's when he made his pit stop and put on his new tires.
Kenseth has been strong all night. He's been up in the top 5 early in the going here, so he may have the race car to contend with. Coming up, we've got 68 laps to go. Green is waving. Kenseth, the leader, down into turn 1. Robert Presley back on the racetrack. They repaired the broken gears in the 47, so Presley is out to get some laps in the Sunoco Chevrolet. Sauter as we go inside. Duralube machine. He drops down underneath Presley. Remember, he's a lap down, trying to get his lap back. Glenn Allen Jr. directly in front as well. Now, Glenn Allen is second in the 99 car right now. He did not pit in this last sequence either, and Sauter moves by him. So Sauter with a shot perhaps to get back on the lead lap here.
Yeah, if Jim's got a chance to make up his lap, this is it right now.
Matt Kenseth from the 9th starting spot. Here's how he has progressed through the field. There you see on lap 108 when he was back to 23rd after making his pit stop. But he did not stop on the last caution, so he is the leader. He's got Sauter a lap down right behind him, and Sauter working hard in the Duralube car to try to run around him and move back onto the lead lap. Sauter's got an idea here. He's back in 22nd spot, but I think he's thinking perhaps he's got a chance.
Trying it on the outside, and he may pull it off.
Jim Sauter, the veteran from Messina, Wisconsin, goes high. Races down into 1, and Kenseth, I think, will let it go. No, he won't. He'll come back on it. Sauter's got more muscle, though, on the outside, and he'll get around and get the lap back.
There's been a lot of double wide racing, so there's some good rubber up there now.
Well, that was a smart move on Matt Kenseth. There was no reason to sit and run with him, take a chance of either wearing out his tires or getting in a wreck, because he was just trying to make up a lap.
The 47, remember, Presley several laps down. He spent a lot of time on pit road with those broken gears. Glenn Allen, though, in the 99 is second behind Kenseth. So there you have the last of the lead lap cars now, the 64 and Jim Sauter. Then the 17 of Kenseth, your race leader. Then the 47 car, Robert Presley, many laps down. And then right behind them, the 99 of Glenn Allen. Let's look a little further back. Mike McLaughlin back in 6th spot. Randy LaJoie back in 7th. Dennis Setzer is 5th in the 43. He didn't stop either on that last caution. So Setzer trying to gamble and pick up some track position. It has worked for now, but he's going to get shuffled on the outside. Randy LaJoie took advantage. He's gotten by Todd Bodine. Remember, he rode behind Bodine for a long time. LaJoie is 7th. Bodine is 8th. They're going to shuffle Setzer back another spot. Mike McLaughlin, meantime, is 5th. Mike Dillon is directly in front of them in 4th.
But we have 2 different strategies working here. The first 4 cars didn't pit, didn't take on the fresh tires, and I think it's like from 5th on through 10th are the guys that all pitted and put on tires. Now we'll see, you know, maybe it'll be another 10 laps if these first 4 cars can hold everyone off. The tires will equalize a little more.
The 38 of Elton Sawyer up to 9th spot. He wants 8th if he can get by Setzer as they come to the line. Tim Fedewa back in 10th. Now remember, Fedewa led a lot of this race before that last round of pit stops. So Fedewa ought to have a very quick race car as well.
Really close quarters racing happening right there. Dennis just got pushed to the outside, and inside is just working a little bit better for these guys right there.
Elton Sawyer in the 38th running up now, give him 8th spot. And there's Fedewa back in 9th. Setzer now is 10th. Take a look a little further back at Kevin LePage back in 14th spot. Bill Parsons is 15th. There's your lead pack off of turn 4, the 17th of KENSETH. Now Elliott Sadler has come up through the pack quickly. He is up to 2nd. Give Dillon 3rd spot. Glenn Allen has fallen back to 4th. Here's Sadler looking low down into turn 3.
Excellent race tonight for Mike. This must be one of his better memories so far.
I'll tell you, Dillon really impressed me in South Boston 3 weeks ago. He ran in that lead group of cars almost all night long, had a nice finish out of it. KENSETH with 0.2 of a second lead, and we've got trouble. A couple cars in the wall. Caution waving. There it is, up between 1 and 2. Randy Porter and Jason Jarrett get together at the exit of turn 2, up where there was some speedy dry on the track from an earlier incident. So we are cautioned once again. 195 laps are complete. We take a look inside the Universe machine of Randy Porter. Gets the car fired up. Second time tonight Porter's been up in the marbles. So the field is under caution. This may shuffle the pit stop situation even more. We'll see when we come back to Myrtle Beach Speedway on TNA Motorsports, the NASCAR Busch Series with 55 laps to go.
Right turn.
A lot of folks here for the NASCAR Busch Series event. Got a chance to visit the brand new NASCAR Cafe on the Strip here at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Fans enjoying a visit a couple of nights ago by Elliott Sadler, Randy LaJoie, Tim Fedewa, who's leading the race right now. Hermie Sadler was there as well. And even Steve Park stopped by. Taking a look inside the boss's machine.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Steve Park giving the command. Elliott Sadler dropping the green on the meals that were served a couple of nights ago at NASCAR Cafe. Larry Pearson in the field tonight. High hopes for the former series champion. His last Busch Series victory came here. In fact, he holds the race speed record. He's our Big A Auto Parts driver of the race.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. You know, we have to have whatever team I go with, we have to have the financial backing and the support of the sponsors, and the crew and everybody has to work together. I mean, it has to be 100% a team effort. You know, it's not just a driver, it's not just a team, but once the right team and the right driver get hooked up, then they can go to the top, and I feel like I can still do it.
Larry Pearson on the speedway. He's running back in 26th spot. His first drive for Curtis Key tonight in the Outdoor Life Speed Vision Ford, hoping to do some more races this season. Ready to go green at Myrtle Beach. There'll be 50 laps to go when we come around. Saturday night shootout time. Matt Kenseth is your restart leader. Elliott Sadler in the 29 will go second. Mike Dillon lines up third, and we're down into 1. Glenn Allen is 4th on the restart.
Yeah, and through all of that shuffle, Jim Sauter got his lap back on that yellow, so he's back on the lead lap now.
So Sauter may have things come his way. That car was way off the pace early on, but he has come around, and the 64 car is very quick at this point. KENSETH, still your leader, had led once in the series prior to tonight for only 5 laps. A couple of top 10s so far in his young Busch Series career. 6th at South Boston, 7th at Talladega, only his 10th start of the season. Elliott Sadler, who has won at Nazareth this year, taking a look inside. The pole sitter tonight, Sadler, wants the lead back as they come out of 4.
Yeah, they need to be telling him patience. You already had one problem tonight. Use patience.
Mike McLaughlin with the move to the inside of Glenn Allen for 4th spot. Randy LaJoie back in 6th, and there's another car. Fedewa high off of 2. Fedewa in trouble. We take a look. He gets it gathered back in, but Fedewa, who led a lot of this race, may have seen his chances just go away. Fedewa got into the wall coming off 2. Now he rubs fenders with Mark Green. Speedway gets it gathered back up. Second time he's made some contact with another machine tonight. We saw how he had rammed the back end of Elliott Sadler's car early on. Now the battle for the lead coming out of 4. Elliott Sadler has recaptured the top spot. Elliott Sadler is back out in front in Gary Bechtel's Diamond Ridge machine.
These guys are getting real serious right now. There's some very, very close racing going on.
Yeah, coming up before Glenn Allen got into the side of Randy LaJoie, got him totally crossed up, and then Glenn Allen had to back off, lost 3 spots because of it.
Randy LaJoie stays 5th, but he has fallen back a bit as well as they haul it into turn 1. Mike Dillon now challenging KENSETH. Remember, KENSETH pitted out of sequence, didn't get tires on the last sequence of pit stops, the last caution we had a couple of laps back, so he may be running out of fresh tires as well. Dillon, though, did stop, and he's challenging for 2nd spot.
Yeah, you can see KENSETH's car is actually pushing up in the center of the corner.
Here's the pass for the lead a few moments ago down into turn 1. KENSETH in the 17 had the top spot, but he slipped up high going into 1.
When those tires get worn, you just can't get a grip down there, and they slide up a little bit, and those guys with fresher tires just get a better bite.
So Elliott Sadler now opens up about 3 car lengths on KENSETH. He's 2nd in the 17. Dillon 3rd in the 72. The 34. Mike McLaughlin is 4th. Here's how Sadler's night has gone. Started on the pole, was back to 22nd on lap 164. But just about 50 laps later, he's back out in front. Shows you how on a short track, pitting at the right time makes all the difference.
He's gone for a full circle here, from the leader back to like 40, back up to the lead. He's definitely showing that track position and strategy means a lot in a short track race.
Battle for 2nd now. Dillon trying to find room to get inside KENSETH. Is KENSETH holding up to 72, do you think?
A little bit right now, I think so.
Yeah, Matt's right in the center. He's holding him up, but as they come off the corner, looks like KENSETH gets a little better jump than the 72 car.
Get my dental plate in place here, and I'll be able to say his name next time by. We go on board with Randy LaJoie. LaJoie sitting back in 5th. He's been very patient. Randy started up in the 4th spot tonight. Has dropped back now inside McLaughlin. They rub fenders.
I don't think Randy's being too patient right now. He knows there's only 40 laps to go, and he's got 4 cars to get around, and I think he's decided it's time to do it.
LaJoie and McLaughlin touch. LaJoie drops back. McLaughlin holds on to 4th spot. Randy actually started in the 5th spot here tonight. And that's where he is right now. But if you remember in the early stages, he backpedaled. He went back to 12th at one point before getting going, getting the car sorted out a little bit better and getting some speed. I'll show it to you one more time. Down into turn 1, LaJoie challenging McLaughlin for 4th.
Yeah, he's inside. He's got just a little bit of bumper on him right there, but it's not going to work out for him because Mike holds on, and then he has to move up to miss those bumps, and next thing you know, that position is not gained.
LaJoie comes right back up on the back deck lid of the Royal Oak car, so he'll challenge again in a moment. You got Mike Dillon up ahead in 2nd, the 17 of KENSETH 3rd, then you got McLaughlin and LaJoie. So 4 cars are nose to tail for 2nd spot as they move around the Joe Bessey machine. Bessey had gotten into the wall earlier tonight, so he's off the pace, a couple of laps down. 38 laps to go. Mike Hogwood, how is the tire strategy playing out on pit road for these teams?
Well, it's questionable whether Elliott Sadler can hold on to this lead. His tires have 30 more laps on them than the other guys. And Mike Dillon just took right sides on. The guy with the freshest tires is the 34 car of Mike McLaughlin. Watch him late in the race.
Randy LaJoie looking ahead at McLaughlin as they battle it out for 4th. KENSETH in the 17 is 3rd. Less than 40 laps to go at Myrtle Beach. You're live on TNN Motorsports with the NASCAR Busch Series. We'll be right back. Portions of tonight's NASCAR Busch Series event are brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. And by Peerless Faucets, the do-it-for-yourself faucets. Be sure to race into the all-new official store of NASCAR. It's NASCAR Thunder, now open in Atlanta, Winston-Salem, Knoxville, Dallas, and Cincinnati. For locations and information, visit us on the web at www.country.com. NASCAR Thunder is the official store of NASCAR. We are live at Myrtle Beach Speedway. 27 laps to go. Elliott Sadler continues as your leader. Mike Dillon is in second spot. Got the second spot away from Matt KENSETH a few laps ago. KENSETH, though, with some problems. He is backing up in the field, and his tires may have gone away. Remember that KENSETH pitted out of sequence with the leaders several laps earlier, so his tires have more laps on them. Here he is slipping up high. Up in turn 3.
Well, I don't know. Part of his problem, I think, was the 38 car, but I have to tell you, 25 laps to go. Matt was starting to hold everyone up. Elton did the right thing. He had to use the bumper, just move him over a little. I would have done the same thing.
Well, the 34 kind of started it, came back that direction, and then it didn't end for him till he got a big old hole in the racetrack to get into.
As we watch Elliott Sadler coming off of turn 4, he remains the leader. He's got a 2-second edge over Mike Dillon. We carry you back to second. There's Dillon in the 72. Mike McLaughlin third in the 34. Randy LaJoie fourth in the 74. Got a dandy battle for second spot. McLaughlin, they go almost 3 wide there. BESSEY is a lap car in the 6. McLaughlin gets back in line. Mike Dillon's best finish of the year so far, a 10th at Las Vegas. His only top 10 of the season. That South Boston run where he was up in the lead group ended with him crashing. So he is on his way to what would be his best run of the season by far.
Those are the kind of stats that he really wishes y'all wouldn't get to follow up on and get to later on.
Let's bring a historian into the booth.
Wait till they drop the checkered flag, then we can talk about that.
Well, we're getting close. Less than 25 to go. We go back on board with Randy LaJoie. The Busch Series point leader. He's got his main nemesis, Todd Bodine, right behind him. Those two have run nose to tail for much of the night tonight.
Much of the season.
That's why we have such a competitive points race. The two points leaders race side by side, bumper to bumper, every race.
Now, Mike Hogwood told us earlier that he thought that Elliott Sadler's tires might not make it all the way to the end, and that Elliott might have problems in the late going. His lead is starting to close down a little bit. It's down to 1.9 seconds, so he's lost about 2/10 to Dillon, to McLaughlin, to Randy LaJoie, and Todd Bodine as we come up on 20 to go. And Elton Sawyer races his way into 6th, and we need to give him a call. He's been very strong here at a track where he had won previously. Up onto the backstretch now. They'll get 20 to go.
He's really been dogging at 36, you know, but they kind of let Elliott just sort of have his way. He doesn't have to race anybody out there. He's not having to be particularly abusive to his tires. But this 2nd through 6th group, that's some seriously hard racing right there.
They're using up not only themselves, but their tires and everything here. Because with this little laps left in the race, everyone's driving their heart out.
Elton Sawyer back in 6th. Right in front of him, Todd Bodine, who runs 5th. Randy LaJoie sits 4th. McLaughlin is 3rd. The head of that pack, Mike Dillon, in the Detroit Gaskets MGM Brakes car, in 2nd spot. I'll tell you, we've talked about it a good bit tonight, but Dillon has really started to come on in the NASCAR Busch Series these last several weeks.
Oh, he's leading a pretty serious group of really good drivers there. Race winners, championship winners. He should feel real good about himself right now.
That car has one Busch Series win. A couple of years ago, Tracy Leslie went to victory lane in the 72 at Indianapolis Raceway Park. But Mike Dillon looking for his first career victory now with 17 to go. He needs help. Elliott Sadler is the race leader by nearly 2 seconds. This is the battle for 2nd. Todd Bodine slipping. He's got problems. He's got some damage to the right rear quarter panel of the Stanley Tools car.
Yeah, he got into the corner, got up a little high, and actually Elton was looking on the outside, and he ran into Elton and come out.
And Dillon gets punched sideways too. So Dillon gets turned a little bit, and McLaughlin gets 2nd spot. Now LaJoie goes high. So Dillon perhaps losing the edge on his rubber. Out of the main straightaway, give LaJoie 3rd by a bumper, but Dillon says not yet. As we're inside 20 laps remaining tonight at South Boston Speedway. Not South Boston Speedway, Myrtle Beach Speedway.
You know, like you said earlier, though, Rick, the car out there right now with the freshest tires was the 34 car, Mike McLaughlin. He was able to get underneath Dillon, and he's actually seems to be running down Sadler.
We look back from the machine of Randy LaJoie. Mike McLaughlin sitting in 2nd spot now. But the lead for Elliott Sadler back to 2.1 seconds. Sadler down into 1 as McLaughlin just crosses the stripe. Randy LaJoie is up to 3rd. Mike Hogwood, laps winding down, 13 to go. What are they saying in the 29 pits?
Oh, Sandy Jones, I mean, he is really tense down here. They're all tense. They know the tires are old. They have told Elliott to hold on. Elliott says, I'm trying. I'm going as hard as I can go. They keep counting down the laps for him. He knows the story. He knows the situation. There's tension here. By all rights, those tires, those faster tires should catch up with him. But Elliott Sadler is driving his heart out right now. He really wants to win this race tonight.
Remember that Elliott Sadler finished second a week ago at the Milwaukee Mile. 5 top 10s this year, including his win at Nazareth back in the month of May. Todd Bodine with that damaged right rear corner of the 36 car. Doesn't seem to be holding him up any.
No, and I was really hoping it was. Well, also, and I was hoping that it didn't do any damage to one of Elton's tires when with that sheet metal. So, you know, I can't help but pull for him. Looks like he's got a chance right here. He's up underneath the 36.
10 laps to go as they flash by. 10 to go. Sawyer to the inside of the 36 of Todd Bodine. This is the battle for 5th. And Todd shuts the door. The 36 looks like it's starting to push up the racetrack a little too. Here's Elton Sawyer to the outside. Maybe he'll get him this time.
He's trying it every which way he can.
Randy LaJoie, meantime, takes a look inside. Mike McLaughlin for second spot. Can't do it. And neither can Sawyer make the move on Todd Bodine. There's the battle for second on the back straightaway.
So evenly matched.
Yeah, I think if Elliott Sadler just uses his head, there's only 8 laps left. I think he's got a big enough lead right now that the second and third place cars aren't going to be. If they can run him down, I don't think they'll be able to pass him. All they need to do is just keep a smooth line for, what, 7.5 more laps.
There's the battle for second. Sadler's your leader. LaJoie there third. Mike McLaughlin in front of him second. They both were able to shoulder their way by the 72 of Mike Dillon, but Dillon's hanging on to 4th spot.
Just barely. 36 is working him pretty hard right now to the outside.
There's the battle for 4th. Todd Bodine to the outside and Dillon for 4th spot now.
And Elton's just sitting there. He's waiting which guy he should go with. He's like a cat waiting to pounce on somebody.
Battling down into 3. Todd Bodine on the outside of Mike Dillon, battling for 4th spot. Back into 1. Nobody giving any ground. And this is the way you like to see it. Very clean racing, very close and very clean. Bodine gets the position. Give Todd 4th. Now Elton Sawyer around Dillon. Give him 5th. So Dillon gets shuffled back to 6th here in the late going.
But Dillon's really running a smart race there. You know, he's running hard. He's doing what he's staying within his means of what the car is capable of doing, and he's still going to pull out a good finish with this if he keeps it up. 5
laps to go. That time by. There are 5 to go tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Elton Sawyer takes a look inside Todd Bodine as they hit turn 3, battling for 4th spot. No change among the top 3. It's still Elliott Sadler up in 1 and 2 now. We'll stay with you right to the checkered flag tonight, and there's a spin up in turn 4 as we watch these 2 cars race up onto the back straightaway. The caution will wave. Todd Bodine, Elton Sawyer battling for 4th spot. Looks like Joe Bessey's machine up in the wall in 4. So we'll hold with 3 laps to go. Bessey gets refired. Now this will close the field up with a caution.
This could be really interesting if they manage to go that green.
Bessey did not stop on the racetrack. He got it refired. He's on the main straightaway, and the starter, he's got a cut right front tire. They're going to wave him on by. Hope that Joe Bessey can get the Power Team Chevrolet off the course down in turn 1 so that we can go green for the last 2 laps. 248 complete, 2 to go. It might be a green-white checker. We'll see, but I'm not sure.
Boy, that is the last thing that the 29 Elliott Sadler wanted to see.
Pace car is out on the track right in front of Sadler's 29 up in turn 2. White flag will wave this time by.
It ripped off right at the corner, standing straight out like a big triangle. Think we make up a lap, Randy? Yeah, that's probably what it is then. I don't think so.
Joe Bessey onto pit road. Elliott Sadler behind the safety car. White flag will wave this time by. We'll see if it'll be a green-white checkered. I don't think so. The yellow flag is waving on the flag stand. The safety car stays out. Looks like we'll get the yellow and the white.
White, green, and then 1 lap to green.
And this one will finish under caution.
That's it.
White and yellow flags waving. Give Elliott Sadler his 2nd win of the 1997 Busch Grand National season.
Be a good race.
Elliott Sadler played the pit strategy to perfection tonight. He gets a break here with no restart, and Elliott Sadler will notch the victory from the pole position.
We were
Big
talking
time
about
break.
we were talking about pit stop strategy, and it paid off for him. I mean, they made the right call. We didn't know if it was or not, but it showed that he had a fast enough car that the tires didn't really show much of a difference.
So Elliott Sadler in the Gary Bechtel Chevrolet and the Phillips 66 Performance Team car will come home the winner tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Mike McLaughlin will get second. Randy LaJoie gains a few more points on Todd Bodine. He will be scored third. Bodine will come home in fourth spot, and Elton Sawyer will get a top five.
Yeah, that was good. It was a good night for him. It'll help him in the points. Those points between the 5th and to 10th are just so tight. Everyone makes a big difference. You know, this was a great thing for Elliott Sadler, because he probably felt like he kind of messed up there as a driver in that area, and you really want to be able to redeem yourself, and here he is going to victory lane and able to do that for that team tonight.
Elliott Sadler gives him the high hand signal down the main straightaway and takes the checkered flag. Elliott Sadler the winner tonight at Myrtle Beach Speedway in the Advanced Auto Parts 250. We'll be back to talk to the winner. Portions of tonight's NASCAR Busch Series event are brought to you by Kmart. Get the Exide NASCAR Select battery at Kmart. Night's competition complete here at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Elliott Sadler with a great victory from the pole, but he had to work very hard to get to victory lane. He's with Mike Hogwood now.
And Elliott getting high fives from everybody on this crew. Now, you talk about having to fight to win a race today. Elliott Sadler with his trophy, and of course, started from the pole, his second win of the year. Elliott, it wasn't easy when you flat spotted that tire and had to go back. You got out of sequence with everybody. You're running on old tires. How about that last stretch?
I tell you what, this crew is awesome. That's the only word for it. I messed up. I got a little impatient trying to lead the race and try to pull away, and this Phillips 66 crew is awesome. This team is awesome. Hey, we won another one from the pole, but it was a tough one. We had to make a few changes and stuff like that, and try to make adjustments on old tires and did good. And I just like to thank Phillips 66 and Chevrolet for supporting us in Diamond Ridge Motorsports. And woo, I love it, baby.
Hey, Mike McLaughlin's got 4 fresh tires right behind you. Were you worried about that?
Well, a little bit, but that car was awesome on old runs. You know, it took us a while to get going, but this car's been awesome all weekend. Once we started running great, and I tell you, this is awesome. And I'm just looking forward to next weekend.
Hey, I heard something about a Harley Davidson somewhere. If you won this race from the pole, Gary Bechtel, I know you're going to make him pay up. Huh?
Yeah, he's going to pay up big time. Monday morning, we're going shopping.
All right, that's Elliott Sadler. He is excited here in Victory Lane.
And well, he should be. Turned in a great run tonight off the pole. Had that shunt up in turn 1 early in the evening. Got out of sync on his pit stops, and they managed to call a great race, I think, in the pits and get him back in contention.
You know, it's got to be sweeter like that, you know, to come back from adversity.
Elliott Sadler, the winner tonight at Myrtle Beach. Back with more in a moment.